For nearly 2,000 years, the Vatican has stood at the center of faith, history, and power. Behind its ancient walls lie priceless artifacts, secret documents, and mysteries that have fueled speculation for generations. Some believe the Vatican safeguards humanity's greatest treasures. Others believe it guards humanity's greatest secrets. From the sudden death of a pope and the disappearance of a young girl, to hidden archives, forbidden texts, and rumors of knowledge never meant to be revealed, the stories surrounding the Vatican have become some of the world's most enduring conspiracies. Tonight on Black 13, we journey into the shadows of one of the most powerful institutions in history and examine 6 Vatican mysteries that continue to spark questions, controversy, and fascination around the globe. Whether fact, legend, or something in between, these are the secrets that refuse to stay buried. Few places on Earth inspire as much fascination, speculation, and mystery as the Vatican Archives. Hidden behind ancient stone walls in the heart of Vatican City lies a vast collection of documents spanning more than 12 centuries of human history. Officially known today as the Vatican Apostolic Archive, the collection contains millions of pages stored across miles of shelving, deep within secure chambers rarely seen by the public. Kings, emperors, scientists, popes, crusaders, and revolutionaries have all left their mark within these records. To historians, the archive is one of the greatest collections of historical documents in existence. To conspiracy theorists, it is something far more intriguing, a vault containing secrets powerful enough to change humanity's understanding of the past. The mystery begins with the archive's very nature. Unlike ordinary libraries, access is tightly controlled. Only qualified scholars with approved research projects may enter certain sections, and even then, access is limited. Massive steel doors protect countless rooms filled with aging manuscripts, handwritten correspondence, papal decrees, and records dating back centuries. Imagine descending into dimly lit corridors beneath one of the world's most powerful religious institutions, surrounded by shelves containing the private communications of rulers long dead. The atmosphere alone is enough to ignite the imagination. It is easy to understand why so many believe these halls conceal more than history. Over the years, countless rumors have emerged regarding what might be hidden inside. Some claim the archives contain forbidden gospels removed from the Bible centuries ago. Others suggest there are records describing ancient civilizations whose histories were deliberately forgotten. Stories circulate about lost knowledge, suppressed discoveries, and documents too controversial for public release. According to some theories, hidden among the millions of pages are accounts of unexplained phenomena, mysterious relics, and events that challenge accepted versions of history. While no credible evidence supports many of these claims, the secrecy surrounding the archives ensures that speculation continues to thrive. One of the most frequently discussed mysteries involves the possibility of texts deemed too dangerous or disruptive for public knowledge. Throughout history, religious institutions played a major role in preserving written records during times of war and social upheaval. As a result, the Vatican accumulated documents from across the known world. This has led some to wonder whether forgotten books, alternative accounts of historical events, or writings considered heretical by past authorities remain hidden within its collection. Every missing manuscript, every lost gospel, and every unexplained gap in history becomes fuel for the belief that the archives hold answers never meant to leave their walls. Adding to the intrigue are the genuine treasures known to exist within the collection. Historians have confirmed the archive contains correspondence from figures such as Michelangelo, Martin Luther, and European monarchs. There are documents connected to the trial of the Knights Templar, records from the Inquisition, and letters written during some of history's most turbulent eras. These discoveries demonstrate that the archive truly is a repository of extraordinary historical significance. And if such remarkable documents are already known to exist, many people naturally wonder what remains unseen beyond the sections rarely open to researchers. The architecture of secrecy itself has become part of the legend. Popular culture often portrays the Vatican Archives as a labyrinth of hidden chambers, locked vaults, and forgotten passageways stretching beneath Vatican City. Movies, novels, and documentaries have amplified these images, presenting the archives as a place where history's greatest mysteries are stored away from public view. While reality is far less dramatic than fiction often suggests, the enduring image of scholars moving through endless corridors of ancient records continues to captivate audiences around the world. The archive has become more than a historical repository. It has become a symbol of hidden knowledge. Perhaps that is why the Vatican Archives remain one of the world's most enduring mysteries. The truth is that much of what lies inside is likely ordinary history: treaties, letters, administrative records, and religious documents preserved across centuries. Yet the scale of the collection, combined with limited access and centuries of speculation, creates an irresistible question. What stories remain hidden among those millions of pages? What forgotten voices still rest in the darkness of those shelves? Whether the archives contain world-changing secrets or simply fragments of humanity's long journey through history, they continue to occupy a unique place in the imagination, a place where mystery and reality meet beneath the shadow of the Vatican itself. On the evening of September 28, 1978, the bells of Vatican City rang out to celebrate a new era. The world had welcomed a new pope, Pope John Paul I, a humble and charismatic leader whose warm smile quickly earned him the nickname the Smiling Pope. Unlike many figures who rose to positions of immense power, he appeared approachable, modest, and deeply committed to reform. Catholics around the world saw him as a breath of fresh air. Few could have imagined that only 33 days later he would be dead. What should have become a hopeful chapter in Vatican history instead evolved into one of the Church's most enduring mysteries. The morning of September 29th began with confusion. Vatican staff discovered the Pope lifeless in his bed. Official announcements followed quickly. The cause of death was reported as a heart attack. Given his age and the pressures of leadership, such an explanation seemed plausible. Yet almost immediately, inconsistencies began to emerge. Reports conflicted regarding who found the body. Accounts varied concerning the circumstances of his final hours. Statements were corrected, revised, and sometimes contradicted by later testimony. What might have remained a tragic but straightforward death instead became fertile ground for speculation and suspicion. The timing of the Pope's death only intensified the mystery. 33 days. Barely enough time to settle into the role. Barely enough time to implement meaningful change. Yet during that short period, rumours circulated that John Paul I had begun examining sensitive issues within the Vatican's financial institutions. Questions were being raised about corruption, mismanagement, and relationships between the Vatican Bank and powerful financial figures. Whether these concerns were substantial or merely routine administrative matters remains debated, but in the minds of many observers, the coincidence was impossible to ignore. A reform-minded pope dies suddenly just as he begins investigating problems hidden within one of the world's most powerful institutions. As the years passed, conspiracy theories multiplied. Books were published alleging cover-ups, secret investigations, and internal power struggles. Some writers claimed the Pope had discovered information so damaging that powerful individuals wanted him silenced. Others suggested that organized crime, international banking interests, or shadowy political networks had reasons to fear reforms he might pursue. These claims remain unproven and highly speculative. yet the absence of definitive answers allowed them to flourish. In mysteries involving immense power and limited transparency, speculation often rushes in to fill the gaps left by uncertainty. Adding to the intrigue was the atmosphere surrounding the Vatican itself. For centuries, the Holy See has been both a religious centre and a sovereign state. Decisions made within its walls can influence millions around the world. The Vatican's unique blend of spiritual authority, diplomacy, finance, and tradition creates an environment unlike any other. To conspiracy theorists, this setting provides the perfect stage for hidden agendas and secret conflicts. The sudden death of a pope became more than a medical event. It became a story about what might be happening behind doors few outsiders ever see. Historians and investigators have repeatedly examined the available evidence. Most conclude that natural causes remain the most likely explanation. The official position of the Vatican has never changed significantly from its original assessment. Yet even among those who reject conspiracy theories, questions linger about communication errors, conflicting statements, and the handling of information during the immediate aftermath. The mystery endures not because clear evidence of foul play exists, but because the circumstances surrounding the event created enough uncertainty to prevent complete closure. More than 4 decades later, the death of Pope John Paul I remains one of the most discussed mysteries in modern Vatican history. Whether viewed as a tragic natural death or the subject of endless speculation, it continues to captivate those fascinated by the intersection of power, secrecy, and faith. Somewhere between documented fact and whispered rumor lies the story of a pope who smiled his way into the hearts of millions and then vanished from the world almost as quickly as he arrived. And perhaps that is why the mystery persists. Not because we know what happened, but because so many people remain convinced that we never learned the whole story. Of all the mysteries associated with the Vatican, few are as haunting, emotional, and enduring as the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. Unlike ancient prophecies or secret archives, this mystery centers on a real person, a 15-year-old girl who stepped out into the streets of Rome one summer afternoon and never returned. What began as a missing persons case soon evolved into an international mystery involving anonymous phone calls, organized crime allegations, political intrigue, and decades of speculation. More than 40 years later, no one can say with certainty what happened to her, and that uncertainty continues to cast a long shadow over the Vatican itself. The story began on June 22, 1983. Emanuela was not an ordinary Roman teenager. Her father worked within Vatican City, and the family lived inside its walls, making them part of one of the most unique communities in the world. That afternoon, Emanuela attended a music lesson in Rome before calling home to mention a possible job offer she had received from a stranger. It seemed like a minor detail at the time. She sounded normal. Nothing in her voice suggested fear or danger, but after leaving the lesson, she vanished. When she failed to return home, concern quickly turned to panic. A search began that would eventually span decades. In the days that followed, the mystery deepened in unsettling ways. Witnesses reported seeing a girl matching Emanuela's description speaking with unknown individuals. Then came the phone calls. Anonymous callers contacted authorities and journalists, claiming to possess information about her whereabouts. Some references pointed toward international politics, specifically involving the attempted assassination of Pope John Paul II. Others offered contradictory stories that seemed designed to confuse investigators. Each lead generated hope, only to collapse into dead ends. Yet the calls suggested something chilling. Whoever was behind the disappearance wanted the world to pay attention. As years passed, the case became entangled with increasingly bizarre theories. Some investigators explored possible links to organized crime groups operating in Rome during the 1980s. Others examined allegations involving powerful figures connected to financial scandals and underground networks. Rumours emerged that Emanuela had become a pawn in struggles far larger than anyone initially imagined. Theories spread through newspapers, documentaries, and public inquiries, each one attempting to explain how a teenager could vanish from one of the most heavily scrutinized cities in Europe without leaving a clear trail behind. What makes the Orlandi case particularly haunting is the atmosphere of secrecy that seemed to surround it. Witness testimony shifted over time. New claims emerged years after the disappearance. Alleged documents surfaced and then were challenged. Anonymous sources appeared, disappeared, and reappeared. For investigators, it often felt as though every answer uncovered two new questions. Some believed the truth was hidden behind layers of institutional silence. Others argued that decades of speculation had obscured a far simpler explanation. Yet no theory has ever resolved all of the contradictions that continue to surround the case. The mystery returned to international attention repeatedly over the decades. Searches were conducted in unexpected locations. Tombs were opened. Human remains were examined. Every new development reignited public fascination and renewed hope for answers. Families of missing persons often describe uncertainty as a unique form of suffering. Without definitive proof, grief never fully settles. Questions remain suspended in time. In the case of Emanuela Orlandi, that uncertainty has lasted for more than 4 decades. An entire generation has grown up hearing her name, yet the central question remains unchanged. What happened after she left that music lesson in 1983? Today, the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi stands as one of Europe's most enduring unsolved mysteries. It is a story that combines innocence, power, secrecy, and unanswered questions in a way that continues to captivate the public imagination. Somewhere, perhaps hidden in forgotten records, fading memories, or evidence still undiscovered, lies the truth of what happened to a 15-year-old girl who simply vanished. Until that truth emerges, her story remains suspended between history and mystery, a haunting reminder that some disappearances leave behind far more questions than answers. In 1917, while the world was engulfed in the chaos of the First World War, a remote field near the small village of Fatima, Portugal, became the centre of one of the most controversial religious mysteries in modern history. 3 young shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins Francisco and Jacinta Marto, claimed they were visited by a radiant figure they identified as the Virgin Mary. According to their testimony, the figure delivered a series of messages and prophecies that would later become known as the 3 Secrets of Fatima. The first 2 secrets were eventually revealed, but it was the third secret, the one hidden for decades within the Vatican, that would ignite speculation, fear, and conspiracy theories around the world. The mystery deepened because the third secret remained sealed for generations. The children had written down the message, and church authorities secured the document within the Vatican. As years passed, rumours began to spread. Why was the final message withheld from the public? What could possibly be so disturbing that church leaders chose to keep it hidden? Every year of silence amplified public curiosity. The world changed dramatically throughout the 20th century. World wars, nuclear weapons, revolutions, and global conflicts reshaped civilization. Yet the secret remained locked away, fueling endless theories about its contents. By the mid-20th century, stories surrounding the third secret had taken on an almost mythological quality. Some believed it contained warnings about the end of the world. Others claimed it predicted catastrophic wars, global spiritual collapse, or disasters yet to come. Certain theorists argued that the Vatican feared public panic if the message were revealed. The lack of information allowed imaginations to fill the void. In a world already captivated by prophecy and apocalyptic predictions, the hidden document became a symbol of forbidden knowledge waiting behind Vatican walls. Then there were the strange circumstances surrounding the release itself. For decades, church officials offered little information beyond confirming the existence of the secret. It was not until the year 2000 that the Vatican publicly released what it identified as the complete Third Secret. The text described a symbolic vision involving a bishop dressed in white walking through a devastated landscape before being struck down by attackers. Vatican officials interpreted the vision as relating to the 1981 assassination attempt against Pope John Paul II. For many observers, this explanation resolved the mystery. For others, it only deepened it. Almost immediately, critics and conspiracy theorists questioned whether the entire message had truly been released. Some argued that portions remained hidden. Others pointed to statements made by religious figures over the decades that seemed inconsistent with the published text. According to these theories, the unreleased portion allegedly contained direct warnings about future crises within the Church or global events still to come. No evidence has ever conclusively demonstrated that additional texts exist, yet the suspicion persists. Once people become convinced that something has been hidden, official explanations often struggle to erase that belief. What makes the Third Secret of Fatima particularly haunting is its unique position between faith and mystery. Unlike many conspiracies built entirely upon speculation, this story begins with a real document, real witnesses, and a message genuinely kept confidential for decades. The secrecy itself became part of the legend. Every delay, every unanswered question, and every conflicting interpretation added another layer to the narrative. The result is a mystery that continues to captivate believers, skeptics, historians, and conspiracy researchers alike. More than a century after 3 children claimed to receive a message in a Portuguese field, the Third Secret of Fatima remains one of the most discussed religious mysteries in the world. Whether viewed as a spiritual prophecy, a misunderstood vision, or the source of endless conspiracy theories, its power lies in uncertainty. Somewhere between the official story and the countless theories surrounding it exists a question that continues to linger. Did the world ever hear the entire message, or does another chapter of the secret still remain hidden in the shadows of history? That question, perhaps more than the prophecy itself, is what keeps the mystery alive. Few conspiracies blend faith, science, and mystery as completely as the theory that the Vatican possesses hidden knowledge about extraterrestrial life. For centuries, the Church has been associated with ancient manuscripts, sacred relics, and theological scholarship. Yet in recent decades, a different kind of mystery has emerged, one involving distant stars, unidentified objects in the sky, and the possibility that humanity is not alone in the universe. To many, the idea sounds like science fiction, but the roots of this conspiracy are grounded in something very real: the Vatican's long-standing interest in astronomy and its surprisingly open discussions about the possibility of life beyond Earth. High atop a remote mountain in Arizona stands the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, one of the world's premier astronomical observatories. Operated by Vatican astronomers, the telescope scans distant galaxies, stars, and celestial phenomena. Officially, its mission is scientific research, yet for conspiracy theorists, the existence of such advanced observational capabilities raises questions. Why would one of the world's oldest religious institutions invest significant resources into studying the cosmos? What exactly are they looking for? While scientists provide straightforward answers involving astronomy and exploration, others suspect there may be deeper reasons hidden behind the search for knowledge among the stars. The mystery gained momentum when several Vatican officials made public statements acknowledging the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Some theologians and astronomers associated with the Church suggested that intelligent life elsewhere in the universe would not necessarily conflict with Christian teachings. These remarks, intended as thoughtful discussions about science and faith, sparked intense speculation. To conspiracy theorists, they sounded less like philosophical musings and more like preparation. Why discuss alien life so openly unless evidence already existed? Such questions spread rapidly through documentaries, internet forums, and paranormal communities, creating a narrative that continues to evolve today. Adding fuel to the speculation are persistent rumors about hidden documents within Vatican collections. According to various theories, the Church has spent centuries collecting reports of unusual aerial phenomena, celestial events, and encounters that modern observers might interpret differently than people in the past. Ancient records describing mysterious lights, beings descending from the heavens, or unexplained events have been re-examined by some researchers through the lens of modern UFO lore. While historians generally interpret these accounts within their historical and religious context, conspiracy theories argue that such documents may represent humanity's earliest encounters with something not of this world. The secrecy surrounding both the Vatican and the UFO phenomenon creates a powerful combination. UFO investigations themselves often involve missing information, classified documents, and unanswered questions. The Vatican, meanwhile, is an institution frequently associated with archives, restricted access, and centuries of accumulated knowledge. Together, they form the perfect foundation for speculation. Stories have emerged claiming the Vatican possesses physical evidence of extraterrestrial encounters, recovered artifacts, or secret agreements hidden from public view. No credible evidence supports these claims, yet they continue to circulate because they connect two subjects already steeped in mystery. What makes this conspiracy especially captivating is the deeper question it raises. Throughout history, humanity has looked toward the heavens seeking answers about its place in the universe. Religion and astronomy have often pursued the same mysteries through different paths. If intelligent life were discovered beyond Earth, it would represent one of the most profound revelations in human history. The Vatican's willingness to engage with that possibility has led some people to wonder whether the institution is preparing for a future discovery, or perhaps responding to knowledge it already possesses. The lack of definitive answers leaves plenty of room for imagination. Today, the conspiracy surrounding the Vatican and extraterrestrials remains one of the most intriguing modern mysteries. It exists at the crossroads of ancient faith and cosmic possibility, where centuries-old traditions meet questions about the stars. Whether the Vatican knows something extraordinary or simply participates in scientific inquiry, like many institutions around the world, remains a matter of perspective. Yet the image endures, somewhere beneath ancient domes and hidden archives, beneath paintings, relics, and centuries of history, there may, or may not, be secrets concerning humanity's place in a universe far stranger than we have yet imagined, and perhaps that uncertainty is what makes the story so compelling. Throughout history, countless books have been lost to war, fire, decay, and time. Yet among the most intriguing mysteries are not the books that disappeared accidentally, but the ones that were deliberately left out. Deep within the story of early Christianity lies a collection of writings often referred to as the lost books, or forbidden texts of the Bible. These ancient manuscripts have inspired centuries of fascination because they raise a powerful question: what stories, teachings, and perspectives were excluded from one of the most influential books in human history? For conspiracy theorists, the answer is simple: the Vatican knows more than it has revealed. For historians, the truth is far more complex, but the mystery itself remains captivating. To understand the controversy, we must travel back to the early centuries of Christianity. During this period, numerous Gospels, letters, apocalypses, and religious writings circulated among different Christian communities. Some were widely accepted, others were viewed with skepticism. Over time, church leaders worked to determine which texts would become part of the biblical canon. This process unfolded across generations and involved theological debates, regional traditions, and questions of authenticity. Eventually, certain books were included, while many others were excluded. The books that remained outside the canon would later become the focus of endless speculation. Among the most famous of these texts are works such as the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, and the Book of Enoch. Some contain sayings attributed to Jesus. Others describe visions, angels, heavenly journeys, or alternative perspectives on spiritual teachings. To modern readers, these writings often feel mysterious and unfamiliar because they present ideas that differ from the biblical texts most people know. Their existence has fueled the belief that important truths were hidden or suppressed. Why were these books rejected? What did church leaders find troubling about them? These questions have echoed for centuries. The discovery of ancient manuscripts in the modern era only intensified public curiosity. In 1945, a collection of early Christian texts known as the Nag Hammadi Library was uncovered in Egypt. Suddenly, writings that had been lost for centuries were available for scholars to study. Readers encountered strange cosmologies, secret teachings, and interpretations of spiritual concepts unlike anything found in the traditional New Testament. For some, these discoveries represented forgotten history. For others, they seemed to confirm suspicions that alternative versions of Christianity had once existed before being pushed into obscurity. Conspiracy theories soon emerged around the Vatican's role in preserving and controlling religious knowledge. Some claim that hidden archives contain additional texts never released to the public. Others argue that certain documents were suppressed because they challenged established doctrines or threatened institutional authority. While historians generally find little evidence for these dramatic claims, the allure of forbidden knowledge remains powerful. The idea that ancient secrets might be locked away behind stone walls and guarded archives taps into a timeless human fascination with mysteries hidden just beyond reach. What makes these stories particularly haunting is that they exist at the boundary between documented history and imagination. We know many of these texts are real. We know they were excluded from the biblical canon. We know debates about their significance have persisted for centuries, yet uncertainty remains regarding what might still be undiscovered. Across deserts, monasteries, forgotten libraries, and private collections, history continues to reveal manuscripts once thought lost forever. Every new discovery raises the possibility that other writings remain hidden, waiting to emerge from the shadows of time. Today, the mystery of the Vatican's hidden books continues to captivate believers, skeptics, and researchers alike. Whether viewed as suppressed knowledge, misunderstood history, or simply alternative religious literature, these texts remind us that the past is often more complicated than we imagine. Somewhere among ancient manuscripts, faded ink, and forgotten languages lie voices from a distant world. Voices that survived wars, empires, and centuries of silence. And perhaps that is what makes the story so compelling. Not the certainty of what was hidden, but the possibility that there are still chapters of human history waiting to be rediscovered.